So I'm a men's rights activist, and I'm going to tell you the problem with feminism because I think there's a lot of confusion and misunderstanding around this, and I'm definitely part of the problem, and I definitely contribute to the problem. So I'm going to try and make things a little bit more clear from the men's rights perspective. I'm writing a book, by the way, about men's rights, and it's not going to be about critiques of feminism. It's just going to be about men's rights issues. But people always want to know, why do MRAs have a problem with feminists? Here's why. The definition of feminism is not something we disagree with. We think this is good. Equality is good. We support women's rights. The problem with feminism is that political groups and political movements always attract the dark triad personalities, the manipulators, the grifters, the psychopaths, the sociopaths. And as we see in American politics, very oftentimes they rise to the top. Our problem with feminism is not the definition of feminism of women being equal. Our problem with feminism is that a lot of these bad actors who don't actually care about feminism at all, they get themselves involved with domestic violence advocacy, for example. And because they don't actually care about doing the right thing, and because they are in fact psychopaths, and many of them are in fact sadists who enjoy being cruel, they craft very disingenuous, convoluted laws and practices that end up hurting and discriminating against male victims of domestic violence, really for no good reason at all, just because they want to. And then they craft language and theory around it to manipulate and fool the well-meaning feminists, the good people who are feminists who want to do the right thing, into supporting it. And they then manipulate them and they condition them to think that, oh, when a men's rights activist comes and says something about this, he doesn't really care about male victims. He's just being a misogynist and he's just trying to attack female victims. And they do this for pretty much every issue. An example I've noticed in the last 2 years, the feminist subreddits, the pro-feminist subreddits, have actually fallen behind even the default subreddits when it comes to circumcision. And feminists have this weirdly regressive refusal to acknowledge the fact that circumcision does in fact remove healthy nerve endings and does in fact do damage. And the reason why is because the conditioning, again, they're being told by these bad faith actors to believe this. They give them fake studies or just wrong studies or just lies, and they condition them into believing it. And it's a very noticeable thing that feminism has this very, very weird refusal to acknowledge that circumcision is harmful. Maybe I'll do my next video on that, actually. But these groups, these clusters of psychopaths coming together in the same ideology or movement is called a political ponerology. So a political ponerology is essentially a network of psychopaths who use a political movement or ideology as a vehicle, and they weaponize it for control. It's more complicated than that. The researcher who came up with the term, this is his book, The Science of Evil, Psychopathy, and the Origins of Totalitarianism. And I gotta say, if you're a men's rights activist, it will remind you a lot of feminism. The Wikipedia page honestly isn't that well written. You know, it's such a shame because I used to have that book too. You know, I used to be a person that read books, and I don't anymore. It's a shame. The Wikipedia page isn't that well written, but, you know, you get the gist. Okay, well, I'm kind of like half falling asleep, so that's going to be enough for now. Let me know in the comments below what you want the next video to be. Feminist blind spot to circumcision, or how I pick up hot 21-year-olds at the age of 33.